Hey there, welcome to day 1533 of What You Up To Now. We're going to talk today about the powers that be, wants, musts, and needs, and how there are must, wants, and needs with respect to a spiritual nature or anything are impacted sometimes by the powers that be. The powers that be was our idiom for supersize your business today. We talked about where it came from. It's from the Bible, the Tinsdale Bible in 1526 is where it first appeared, the translation of the New Testament in Romans 13. It talks about the people who decide what is allowed or acceptable in a group, an organization, etc. So in the Bible and the church, God is, of course, the power that be, or is the only powers that be. It would be God. Although there were in those times kings and rulers and emperors and whatever else that had power over other people. So we talked about who do we give our power to as we're building and growing and supersizing our business. And I didn't talk about, well, what do you do about it? I just asked the question, who do you give your power to and who has power over you and your organization? Because the truth is, our world is a hierarchy. Now we can decide whether we're giving power to politicians or not. We can decide if we're giving our power to the police and to the judges and the utilities and the business owners and the business titans and other people, doctors, scientists, other people in our family, friends group, etc. We get to decide who we allow to have power and control over our thoughts, our feelings, our decisions, our beliefs, our wants, our musts, etc. The media has the power to manipulate and control millions of people. It's amazing that, to me anyway, that anyone would give their personal power to the media, to the news anchors. These are paid people that read a predetermined set of notes off a teleprompter. So it's their powers that be in their organization that decide what they're going to read. It's not like they're thinking or opinionating for themselves. They're just going along with the narrative that they're told to read. It's like thinking actors are people that we should give our power to, and we should believe what they believe because they're famous. They're paid to share and promote things, right? It's like advertising famous monsters. It works. It works on millions of people, which is why people continue to do it. It's why influencers are so influential right now. It's because people are struggling. They're so overwhelmed. It's easier to let people that they think that they admire think for them than to think for themselves. And I think it's really a sad state of affairs, but it's true in the case of hundreds of millions of people right now, which is really, really sad. And I think COVID and the whole pandemic was used to make us afraid and train us to be manipulated. And now it's not the beginning of the manipulation. We've been being manipulated for a long time by the media and by other people's thoughts and things. It's just up to us to say, whoa, hold the phone. How does that make me feel? Does that make sense to me? Is that right for me? Or is that just someone else's agenda that they are sharing with me? And I don't ever have to buy into it. So consider carefully the powers that be in your life. If you're building a business, which is what we were talking about with the powers that be today for Supersize Your Business, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Different businesses and different industries have different levels of power in them or influence in them. Are you, I guess I should have asked this, is are you an influencer in your industry? Are you a power that be in your industry? And if not, how are you going to get there? How are you going to become known in your industry as an expert so that you have more power, more options, more opportunity to positively impact other people in your industry and change the world in a good way, right? That's what we really are looking for, at least good versus evil. That's what we're looking for. We're looking for the ability to impact the world in a positive way. And guess what? Those that are evil and not looking to impact the world in a positive way, I honestly believe they'll get those. Theirs get those. I believe in karma. I believe that what goes around comes around. How you treat other people is how you will be treated throughout your lifetime. How you make decisions and choices is we all deal with the consequences of all of our thoughts and beliefs and feelings and decisions and choices and actions, right? No one escapes that. You might escape it in the short term, but in the long term, things catch up with us, right? I've made mistakes and then had to pay the consequences of those mistakes. We all make mistakes, right? And that's how we learn and that's how we grow and that's how we know how to get better and do better next time. So the powers that be, that was a fun discussion for Supersize Your Business. And again, I guess I wish I would have said, well, how do you deal with that and gone to the next step? But that's not my job. My job is to stimulate thinking and share something and get the people thinking about what does it mean to you. That's the whole purpose of sharing idioms. Is it's an impromptu way to, number one, stimulate my own thinking, and number two, to stimulate the thinking of the people that are building businesses that impact the world, so that they see things from different perspectives, because our ability to see things from different perspectives is our own personal point of power. All right. Our annual challenge today, day 101 already of the BU 365-day challenge, to do one thing every day that improves us. We do one little thing every day that improves us. And we're focusing and using the life framework as the overarching structure for the challenge. So the first 9 months of the year, we're covering 9 different areas and aspects of our life. We did physical in January, emotional in February, mental, mindset and things in March. April, we're doing spirituality, and then we will do relationships. Financial, I think, is May. Relationships, June. Contribution maybe in July. Communication and confidence. And I'm not sure on the order, but those are the 9 areas that we're covering. And then in October, November, December, I'm going to surprise you with different things that we're going to do in the last 3 months of the year to bring everything together to create and guarantee that you have the transformation that you want this year by doing one little thing every day in the different areas and aspects of your life. So by focusing on each of the areas and aspects of our life, we're setting small things in motion that we're carrying out through the rest of the year that guarantee that we are moving toward what it is that we really, really want in our life. Now, that was what we talked about today in the challenge. We talked about, and we're on the spiritual aspect, so we talked about spiritual wants versus spiritual shoulds, which is what we talked about yesterday. And we spent a whole day on that, because shoulds are what people outside of us think we ought to be doing, right? Wants, desires, musts, and needs are things that are inside of us that we need to have, that are important to us, but they come from us. They're not determined by other people outside of us. Shoulds are. So wants are all the stuff that we want that might improve the quality of our life, or we think will improve the quality of our life. They're things that we would like to have. They're like our bucket list, but we don't have to have them in order to survive. Our needs are the things we need to have to survive our life, to keep our life going, right? So food, shelter, clothing, water, those would be needs. Everybody needs those things in order to live, right? We have to have energy in, so we have to have food and water. We have to have protection, so we have to have shelter and clothing so that we can survive. So survival needs that support just living organisms as human beings are needs. Musts, to me, are another level of things we have to have because they're inherent in who we are. We tie them to our identity, and they're things that are critically important to who we are in our being. Some of them might be wants. I gave the example of travel. Most of us, travel might be a must for our identity and who we are, and it's a driving force for us. But if we can't travel, for example, a lot of people must travel, but during COVID, it was all shut down. So they realized that they don't need to travel to survive. So it's not a need, it's a want, but it's a higher level want than just a regular want, right? We have infinite amount of things that we usually want. I mean, if I think of all the things I want, I couldn't even list them all because there's so many. But then we shared a process, 5-step process for separating and identifying our musts, our needs, and our wants so that we can prioritize our needs in times of crisis or change or challenges like COVID. We had to take care of our needs first, right? And not everybody had their needs met, right? A lot of businesses went out of business because they couldn't get what they needed in order to survive during COVID. A lot of people couldn't get what they needed for food, medicine, healthcare, and actually perished during COVID. So we want to have a way to make daily decisions by understanding for ourselves what's the difference between our needs, our musts, our wants, and our shoulds. I guess if I was putting them in a hierarchy, I would have my needs, my musts, my wants, and then my shoulds. I would take my shoulds, and most people, and me included, for a lot of years had my shoulds first, and then everything else came last. And some of my needs weren't being met, and that caused me to almost not be here. So those are the pieces of content I created today. And I've got a couple training things I need to catch up on because I missed them the last couple of weeks with my cold. I did a little bit of catching up over the weekend, but not enough. It was family time. We went to the zoo. We had some fun. We did some projects. And so certain times I always prioritize what's most important to me based on what I want in my life. And my family gets priority right now. My second, my business, and then it used to always be business first, then family. And that was exactly the opposite of what I wanted it to be by creating my own businesses. But of course, we fall into those traps. We make mistakes and we learn along the way. All right, if I can help you anyway, ask. Otherwise, I am going to get to it. Have an awesome day, an awesome week, and I will be with you tomorrow. Bye.